wrong with Mike?
What's wrong is when we throw away perfectly functional clothes just because they look slightly different than the ones we didn't wear out in the first place. Now, if you wear them out and there's a hole in them, there's nothing wrong with that, especially depending on where the hole is. This should take a little over 20 minutes. Well, hi everybody. Hi, Mike here. This is episode 9, way ahead of the average longevity of a podcast. I had to go away a little while there. Sorry for the delay. It's not a great story. We entered into a supply chain disruption. Remember the time when the cargo ship got stuck in the Panama Canal and then everybody was like, well, we're not going to have any computer chips for 2 more years. I might be confusing the bodies of water and the vessels, but you get the idea. Well, we experienced a supply chain disruption where the ship was a clot and the canal was my dad's brain. He's doing much better, recovering good, but I'm taking a lot of trips up there, or I'm taking another trip up there soon, which has put a little bit of a damper in the production of podcasts. But okay, we're pushing through, gang. Might not be the smoothest podcast in the world. I do all these in one take, but bear with me while we go through some readjustments. Also, I'm kind of sorry about the clickbaity title. There's not going to be any nudity in this podcast, which is audio only, so even if there was, it wouldn't be that exciting. There will be a nude guy in it, actually. And I like to go the other way with it. You know, there's nude women all over the place with entertainment, and it's got to have boobs in it. I don't get me wrong, I love boobs. Boobs sell. But I want to put a naked guy in this. And a non-fictional naked guy is going to appear in this podcast in story form. So, nothing against the boobs, though. I mean, and I understand why they do it. Sometimes I don't really understand it all. It's like there had to be an appearance of boobs, and it just didn't add to the story. I mean, some of my favorite movies, Stir Crazy with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. One little thing in there. They go to a strip club. Airplane, the movie, one of my favorites. I don't know. Just gotta have boobs sometimes, I guess. I do understand, but I kind of don't. And why do they call a dumb guy a boob? That's a question I'd like to have answered. So we all love boobs. Why is a dumb guy, hey, he's a boob? That should be great to be a boob, I think. So we gotta flip that. Sorry, I got distracted. It was the boobs. Are you guys still there? Okay, cool. I just have one more thought about nudity. There's going to be 2 nude guys in here. Let's picture this, okay? You're at a nudist colony, and they have a snack bar. And at the snack bar, there's a guy making burgers and grilled cheese and everything, and he's bald. But, you know, because it's a nudist colony, he's completely nude. And he doesn't manscape. So does he have to wear a hairnet down there? It's another question I have. So why is a dumb guy a boob, and in the nudist colony snack bar, short order cook, does he have to wear a hairnet on his pubes? It's disappointing. You know, I found my first gray pubic hair the other day, and that was disappointing because it was in my cheeseburger at a nudist colony. Now, okay, these are jokes. Back to earth. Clothes are a waste of money. You need them, especially in the northern hemisphere during December. But the constant churning we go through with our clothing is an absolute waste of money to me. And I had an epiphany one day, and I can share it with you. I found so many clothes this year just looking for them in the wild. You can find clothes in the wild, man. And so one day I should probably do a David Attenborough when I did,
One day Mike was riding his bike to work, willing to put in a solid 2.5 hours at 80% effort level. When what did he see on the bike path? On the rail trail, a set of khaki pants and a chap's shirt. Okay, that was ridiculous. I'm sorry. But I found I'm riding up this hill to get to the very last quarter of a mile to my destination where I'd park my bike and go do this little sort of baby wipe shower of shame in my office. But I see a pair of khakis. Now it hasn't rained in a couple days. It's very dry out. And just the logo on the waistband of like Gap jumped out at me. I was running a touch late, but I'm like, I gotta look at these things. Because I wear khakis. And I'm like, I gotta see what size these are. And it was like waist 32. I'm like, man, length 34. I'm like, this guy is my brother. The chap shirt was a large. I'm usually a medium. I don't usually like chaps. I guess they're nice shirts. They've got that little JCPenney-ish looking logo on it. But it was a button-down collar, which I'm not really a fan of. But hey, I told myself that after I go teach my lab, if that pair of khakis is there and that shirt, they're coming with me. So in my office, I have a bunch of plastic bags, and I took like 4 of them. And what do you know? The pair of khakis was still there. The shirt was still there. There was a pair of socks, which I regret not taking because I was a little bit more grossed out about the socks. But they all went into the bag, tied up the bag, put it in my backpack, rode back home. As soon as I stepped in the door, bang, right in the clothes washer, water on, lots of liquid detergent, and the rest is history. I've worn that combo to work many times. It kind of symbolizes to me the going to work. I actually got something out of it. But I, at that moment, decided that I'm not going to ever buy clothes again. By the way, I gave a couple presentations in that same outfit, the khaki pants with the blue chap shirt. It was a blue pattern shirt. And my opener for my presentation was, you guys like this shirt? Yeah, we like shirt. Yeah, I found it on the bike path. And everybody's like, huh? It's awkward for an opener, but I just decided that I'll never buy clothes again if I can do it. May 1st, 2023. That's when I decided. Now, that means that I bought clothes sometime in 2023. I forget what I bought. Maybe a pair of pants or something, but it wasn't much. And I do have to say this, gang, I will make the exception for running shoes. I'm kind of looking at running shoes differently because you gotta recycle your running shoes every 300 to 500 miles. And I run anywhere about 20-ish, 15 to 20-ish miles a week. And then I walk 15-ish miles a week. And you got to take care of the joints, gang. So I'm going to make the exception for running shoes, and that is it. Now, underwear's going to be a problem. I'm telling you right now. I've got enough underwear right now, but some of them are aging pretty quickly. And the elastic band has a half-life of about 3 months. So plenty of underwear at the moment, and I'm not sure I would pick up underwear in the wild. If I see underwear out there in the wild, I don't know, I would treat that like it was a live copperhead or something. I wouldn't pick it up by the neck and be like, hey, come home with me. I think that needs to be left alone. So someday I might need to break my streak or not, if you can use your imagination. Let's say I run out of underwear. How are you going to know? Right? You can go commando. Commando might be better for you. You do need that buffer layer there, don't you? you do need that buffer layer for certain times when, especially, I'm lucky to not have any problems with incontinence, but hey, I remember, and this goes against the tenets of every outdoors person, but I was hiking in the Pacific Northwest and we were up on Mount Rainier, and you get your poop cycle kind of mixed up when you're traveling, and I was like off, and it didn't happen, but I thought to myself, okay, here's what's going to happen. If I have to go in the woods, those underwear are staying up there. That's going to become my TP. And sure, I could have brought TP, and you're supposed to pack it into like a plastic bag and no trace left behind. Okay, great. That's why I don't do that stuff as often. And but I didn't do it. It's just a thought experiment, so don't come at me. I didn't poop on Mount Rainier, but I would have, to be honest with you, if need be. So I have enough shirts, I have enough pants, I have enough socks, even though they're developing holes. I have enough. As a matter of fact, I'm better on socks now, and this is bittersweet. But my dad did that stint in the hospital back when he was freshly admitted. And in the hospital, they literally take socks out of plastic bags, and then they put them on your feet. And they got little grippy soles, and that's how if you have to get up, you don't want to slip, so they have the little kind of grippy rubberized soles. And I went and used his bathroom, and I noticed that he's got a pair of socks on his feet, cute little red things, and then a pair of socks in the garbage. And I know where they've been. They've been on my dad. So I told my dad, I'm like, hey, I'm taking those socks. And I forgot to grab them that day out of the garbage. And I came and visited him the next day, and he had them sitting out. He picked the garbage for me. And I have them. And when I put them on, they stick a little. So I have to make sure that those are the socks I wear when I wear my boots, which I got off my neighbor. Because my neighbor put his boots out to the curb. That says something, doesn't it? It's like, I'm done with manual labor, man. And they are about a size and a half too big. They're size 12. Let's say 2 sizes too big. I'm normally, for boots, I'm a 10, maybe a little bit bigger because boots you got to be able to slip on. And with the little rubberized soles of my dad's socks, they're even tougher. But they're magnums for whatever that's worth. And my family had bought me a new set of boots because I do a lot of gardening and you need boots, gang. So they're still sitting in the box. So I'm good on boots because of the guy 2 houses down putting his boots out to the curb. I had a little shame. I waited till nighttime and I grabbed those suckers. And I still wear them today, and they are rugged as hell, man. And if I get them wet or get them crap on them, I don't care because they came out of the garbage. I count that as the wild. I found those boots in the wild. Just like I found my khaki pants, just like I found the shirt, sort of like I found my dad's socks. It feels good. It feels good to know that I'm not going. And you can spend a lot of money on clothes. But the khaki pants and the shirt was the best. And here's the thing. Why are they there? Why were the khaki pants, Gap, by the way, they're a Gap brand, the Chaps shirt, when I picked them up? Now, I'm not a detective, but I had an uncle who was a detective, and I had a grandfather who worked in law enforcement who was a detective. When I picked up those clothes, the shirt smelled musky, like lots of cologne. So this guy was doing good. He wasn't unhoused or anything. And by the way, I know in one of my episodes I'd used the other term that wasn't unhoused, and I apologize for not knowing the proper lingo, but he wasn't an unhoused individual because it smelled like some sort of cologne. I can't place what it is. I don't really use much cologne at all. Although if I recycle clothes, I probably should start doing it more. So my theory is one of 2 things. One, this could have been a sudden need to change appearance. It happens. I've had that happen to me before. When I was in high school and we were drinking underage on a golf course, we got approached, a whole bunch of us, there was a lot of us, got approached by a bunch of police, and they got the flashlights and everything. And, we're trespassing and we're underage drinking, and we are all drinking bottles of Miller Genuine Draft. It just came out. This was in the late 80s, like, hey, wow, draft beer in a bottle, even though draft beer sucks, guys, right? When you're drinking a Miller Draft out of a keg and they just put it in a bottle and they market that. Well, we were drinking all that. The cop was like, hey, yellow windbreaker, stay right there, and then he lost track because there's only like 2 cops and there's like 30 of us. So I just popped into somebody's car in the back seat and I took my yellow windbreaker off. And he's peeking in there with his flashlight, and we all have our beers. They were dumped out for us, and he's like, "Where's the guy with the yellow?" I don't know why he wanted to pick me out. I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. I was carrying a beer and walking just like everybody else. And he's like, "Where's the guy with the yellow windbreaker?" And I'm like, "I'm right here, but I'm not telling you." So I whatever singling out I was about to experience, I avoided it because I changed my appearance. That has happened with some of my friends who will remain nameless, who, that you couldn't buy beer past 1 o'clock or something, so they just run out with a case of beer and then and end up getting chased and then jump in the river and then quickly change your clothes. You take off your clothes, you tie your jacket around your waist or whatever you got to do. So I'm thinking that the reason the clothes were there was because of a need to change appearance suddenly. Or, I'll tell you, this happens, and it happened to me, and this is where the naked guy comes in. You see a lot when you bike commute. And just walking around, I'm so thankful I do that now. It's definitely, you don't see the kinds of things that you see when you drive a car. And I've seen what drug deal that went bad, I think it was. I mean, hey, it's a bloody guy running away from another guy who had a wallet or something. It didn't go good. And the guy, I saw him like getting attacked by the guy and getting like punched a couple times, and the guy yelled, "Rape!" I guess it gets attention, but you see stuff like that. Well, here's what I saw maybe about 10 years ago. And it was January, so it was just a very, very unseasonable day in January. And I'm coming back from Dayton, and I'm on the rail trail. Like I said, the place is a gold mine. In this case, it was an experience gold mine. I see this human figure, and away, way far away, I would say quarter mile away. And I'm like, I think there's a little more flesh tone than would normally be there. And I get closer, and I'm like, this dude got no clothes on. None. It was 55 degrees and windy that day, but so I ride by, and I'm like, hey, don't look now, but you got no clothes on. And he looked at me like, what's wrong with you? And we were out going opposite directions, and I was like, okay. So I guess there's times when people just flip, and some of my friends who work in law enforcement say, yeah, that's what happens. When people short circuit mentally, first thing to go is their clothes. And I feel bad if that's the case. And dude, if you were just a little bit south of 5th Street, a little bit south of 5th Street in Dayton, right off the bike path, that little access, I got your clothes if you want them. I mean, I celebrate them, and I'm going to wear them, I think, on Friday. Just because I want to, it's a matter of pride for me. It's a walk of pride. It's not a walk of shame. It's a walk of pride. Yes, I find clothes, and I've got other stories, man. I mean, I went to Myrtle Beach, and I start to wear ball caps now when I run because they're kind of like a sweatband, but also I got this male pattern baldness spot in the back, and my kid yells at me if I don't wear a hat because I'm going to get sunburned or get skin cancer there. So I'm walking across the access to the beach in Garden City, South Carolina. And there's this hat right in the middle of the road that's like Continental Tires. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm a Michelin guy myself. Actually, I have a Michelin hat. I'm like, I got a Michelin hat now and I got a Continental hat. And that sucker came home with me. I flew, stuck it right in my dirty clothes bag, flew it home on the plane. First thing, bang, right in the washing machine. It lasted 2 washes, but still I got some use out of it. Hats, you can find a lot of hats. Looking for socks if anybody has any sort of lead for me. But I'm going on 1.5 years now. Found a balaclava. Balaclava? I used to call it a baklava, but that's like a Eastern European pastry. Balaclava. Synthetic. Put it right in the wash. Wintertime, going for my runs. Balaclava, doesn't mat your hair down, look like a big old headband thing. My current set of sunglasses, I saw them there, and I said, I'm going to give them a week. Somebody left them there. They went fishing down by the creek, and I could tell they didn't need their sunglasses, and they left them right by this sort of fence. And I'm like, okay, 1 week is the statute of limitations. I'm coming for those suckers. And I did. And those are the ones I wear now. I forgot what they're called. I forgot what brand name. I don't know if it's a good brand name. I'll have to Google it. But yeah, I'm going to continue. 1.5 years-ish I'm going on. And I will continue foraging for wild, free-range clothes. And I guess the only question is, are you going to join me or not? Thanks for listening.
Have a question for Mike? Email him at mikecanistero@icloud.com. Bye-bye.